everyone, and we're live.
Hello, happy Wednesday.
Welcome to another amazing episode of Just Engage University podcast. I am your host, Giovanna Burgess White, and I'm here with my co-host, partner in crime,
Yvette Valdenegro, and so happy to be here.
Yes, and if this is the first time you're listening, watching, wherever you're listening or watching from, I'm the owner of Fountain Point at Mia Bella, a beautiful venue in Houston, Texas. Super excited to bring you today's episode. We're going to call it Wedding Feud. We are talking about wedding shopping, not just venue shopping, wedding shopping, what couples are looking for. For those of you guys who missed the last couple of episodes, we rebranded at my venue, and I decided to go do a survey and ask couples what they were looking for, when, especially on Instagram, like, those little highlights, those little dots that we have on there. I wanted to see what people were wanting from us since we were rebranding, and I was in shock to see what people were looking for or I guess we're in the pandemic, but 18 months ago to 2 years ago versus what they're wanting now.
And it's changed.
It's changed, and I love the interaction. I love the responses, and it made me and our marketing team, rethink what we were going to put out there. And I said, you know what, this is the time. We're going to give couples what they want. And so we're not 100% there, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. You have to listen to why, but we're almost there. And so we're super excited to have our new highlights and really kind of redid our website as well around the needs of our clients. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about vendors. And I also, since we're in the wedding industry, and Yvette owns Pop-Up Wedding Houston, she's an amazing partner, mind planner. We're going to talk about what we need from our clients, right? So this is a two-way street. We want to talk a little bit about that as well. And just at the end of the day, everything comes down to time and money. That's not just for weddings. That's just in life in general. We love to talk about money. And so a lot of this has to do with time and money. But another thing that you're going to love about this survey is details. A lot of little details that most of us didn't think about before. So that's really what's happening on today's episode. I also want to share, if you're listening, that Just Engage University is also going through a little rebrand, and we are updating our podcast with the most current on season 1, season 2, and season 3. So stay tuned for that. And if you're not listening to us, we are on Spotify, Google, Apple, and Stitcher. And if you want to keep on watching us, then thank you. Thank you for watching us on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube, because I'm sure you're like, these crazies, what's going to happen today? So that's kind of my news. I want to kind of let people know what's happening in our world before we get started. So,
okay, and I love that, but I just want to add on because I'm sure there are people who have joined on and listened to us and are like, how did these two wacky women even get started? I feel like it was almost 3 years ago, the first time you and I ever did a podcast together. It was not even it was just more like, let's just talk about the wedding industry. We came together and talked. It just clicked. Things just moved forward as the months went by. And then the pandemic, the whole reason we even wanted to start even doing this is because we both said to each other, we've got to get the word out. We need to help the wedding community figure out what in the world to do during the pandemic. And we spent the past 18 months literally bringing information. Sometimes people didn't want to hear it, the truth. We always try to bring the truth. What I love about this episode is it's going to be more cutting edge as far as what is happening now moving forward. And I do like that our feedback is thank you for, even though it may not always be what people want to hear, it's like, thank you so much for sharing what's current and relevant, not just in Houston, not just in Texas, but out in the world, because we do talk to other wedding professionals across the country, and we're trying our very best to keep up. And so thank you to everybody who responds, catches us, talks to us, is open. And by the way, a lot of the open, because we don't ever tell what's going on behind the scenes and who gave us certain information. But our whole goal is to keep the wedding industry, couples, start to finish, from engagement all the way through getting married, on the latest and greatest, because it's all about you, serving you, and helping you in any way we can.
I love it. Yes, this is exciting. So we will be going forward. For those of you, again, who are just now watching us or listening to us, we record these live every Wednesday, and then they get put onto all of our platforms. And so if you're hearing us and you don't see us, it's because we are live and we are in picture. And if you're watching us and you're like, oh my God, these people are crazy. Yep, we are, but we love it. We love our crazy. So let's get into wedding feud.
Woo-hoo!
This has been fun. So like I said,
First, we're going to do venues, right? So venues first, vendors, and then what do we, the vendors, need from you, the couples?
yes. So first, ooh, I have a little cold back issues. Give me 1 second.
Okay, and why are you trying to? You're gone. Say something. You're gone. I can't hear you.
How about now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, excuse the tech issues.
That's okay. But I just want to say, as a planner, the reason I feel like starting off with venues is so important is because that is the first major place anyone goes. That's where you should go if you are currently looking for a wedding. You have to have a date. You have to have a location. Those two things have everything else stem out of it. And it's so important, especially right now when you're considering a venue. But I love that you're going to share what is it. So if you are a venue owner in anywhere and you want to know how in the world am I going to attract more people, make myself more attractive to clients, this is what you're about to share is going to be it.
Yes. So this was very specific. I got out of all of the people we surveyed, this is like the number one answer, which I would think that most venues should know this, but when you go to venues websites, they don't do this.
Okay,
so
survey
says pricing, but not just any pricing with taxes and the fees and apparently I did not know that there's all these other fees that venues have. So they want to know, bottom line, how much is it going to cost me to have my wedding there? So transparent pricing. If it's different for the holidays, they want to know that. If it's different during different times of the year, they want to know that. So I was happy to see that because, as you guys know, for the past 3.5 years that I own Fountain Point, I've always had pricing and people thought I was crazy. Again, back to my thing, time and money. People, this is what life is all about, time and money. So transparent pricing. If it changes, what are the rates if it does change? So it's clear and specific and transparent with pricing that you can be.
Okay. Let me just say, as a planner, again, I just went through this whole entire thing with a client. Frustration. I mean, I am a planner and nothing is more hard than you get on a website and you're like, wait, add this, don't add this. This is inclusive, but it's not inclusive. This is maybe this, but it's I was like, oh my God, I am stressed out because I'm trying to help her. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, let's just email them and say black and white, this is what I want. Please spell it out for me. Don't make your clients work. If they have to work, I'm going to be honest with you, what's the next venue that doesn't make me work? Because this is supposed to be enjoyable, not a stressful moment for them trying to figure out how much something is going to cost. So it's real. I mean, like that's a real deal. And I will say this, I think venues fear for putting pricing on there is that they think, oh, well, someone's not going to call me because they're going to see the price tag on there and they're going to feel like, oh, well, I can't be at this venue. Okay. I'm kind of like, what's kind of wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with someone getting on your website, seeing the truth. You're not wasting their time. They're not wasting your time. If they are not a qualified client, they shouldn't be bothering the whole process anyway. And if you're worried, like, well, they just don't understand why it's this price, but that's for you and every other venue. It is what it is. Budgets are what they are. You can't get around them. And being upfront, I just think makes it so much easier for everybody.
Yes, and here's the thing, we don't go buy a house without getting pre-qualified. Like you can't even go look at a house without being pre-qualified. You're not going to go buy a car.
You can't get a car these days.
Without knowing how much it is. So why would you go to a venue? So for those venue owners who are out there, if you not being transparent is wasting your time and it's wasting the client's time. And also it's not fair for them to go fall in love and then spend more than half of their budget on the venue and then they cannot afford to have the rest of their
money. And they don't understand that.
Because venues are educate. Okay, we're not going to go down that road. So that's a whole nother episode of venue education. But with that being said, under pricing, there was this kind of goes with pricing. They want to know what's exactly included. Okay, like what's included with that price, and they want to know specifics. And it's just like, is it just the venue? Is it venue, and does it come with chairs? Does it come? Is setup breakdown? So specifics on what's included. Now, I did have two brides ask if there could be a section to put what's not included. Now, that can be a little bit harder, but I think they were saying with the all-inclusive packages, can they just put a little section of what's not included? And so we're going to make that change in our menu because there's only 4 things that aren't included. So I think that's really easy to put in the fine print so that then they know when they're looking at this, okay, what other vendors or what are other things that I would have to pay for that aren't included? And then one of the things is, any other upgrades? Can there be a link? Can there be something that goes, okay, what other upgrades or vendors are available? Which we have that as well. So I love that they were very specific with pricing, what's included. If it's an all-inclusive or like a promotional package, what's not included in that so that they can already know beforehand. I also put on there that I would suggest calling the venue and scheduling a virtual consultation to answer those questions too before going to the venue, because that just makes it easier. Again, during your tour, you're also thinking about it in the moment. You can write those questions down. And so I got a lot of feedback going, oh, I didn't think about doing that. So again, when you're venue shopping, if you're getting most of everything, just have those questions ready either for your tour or book it online. I do so many virtual consultations. I probably do 2 or 3 a week where people just call me. We do virtual consults. I answer all those questions. Some of them are in town, some of them aren't. And some of them, because I'm going to get into the next one, they already know, okay, I'm going to narrow it down to my top 3 and then go do the tours. And I think that's fantastic. That's a great way to save time and to save money. So go ahead.
Can I add another little thing to that? Just everything that you're describing. First of all, I really want anybody who's out there who's listening that knows of a venue owner. I think that this is phenomenal. It's great, free information, great information to completely boost your website, boost your venue, boost everything, get more clients, be transparent. I mean, it's awesome. I love what you're sharing. But again, from the aspect of this is only going to help and not hurt, because the more transparent you are up front, it's almost like you're narrowing down, like, yes, 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 yes. So then by the time the person actually comes on site, they already know I've got my answers to all my questions. I feel connected, because in all reality, and this happens, I promise you this happens. Clients go to a venue, they get a vibe and a feel. If it is different from what they saw online, from what they're experiencing, they kind of go, okay, this is, but if it all clicks and it all comes together, which is obviously what you want it to do, then they're like, okay, this is actually really an option. It checks all our boxes. We love the vibe. This is truly an option, which that's what you want.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Next. Survey says next.
Survey says video tour. Okay. And pictures of all the spaces. Okay. I love this because I go back and forth with my partners on this. Like, oh, it's too much. You're giving away too much. But no, they want to see it all. They want to see the bathrooms. They want to see the suites. They want to see what outdoor areas. They don't like. So, I mean, this was very detailed. Don't tell me what you have. Show me what you have. Like, it needs to match it. I'm like, okay, we will show you what you have. That was also on the what would you like to see on the highlights, which we're going to get creative. We already have highlights with pricing. I didn't think we can do it, but my marketing team got it. Now we're going to get our video tour. So this is something that we're scheduled out for this weekend. We're having professionals come in and do the video tour, like it's as if you were walking, because we have a video on the website that's great. It's done by our videographer. It's got drone view of the outside. It's got kind of like a video of you walking through all the spaces, but this is going to be a 360 virtual tour where you can like actually put the little dot on there and like walk the whole venue. And then we're going to also chop it up into pieces by every single, like the suites, the courtyard, the ceremony site. So this really helped solidify to make the investment to do the video tour. And we were already going to pay and do that. But the number one reason we were going to do it was because we have a lot of clients that get married that don't live in Houston. It's crazy to me how many clients, like over 20% of my bookings people don't live here. Like they used to live here, their families live here. It's a meeting point, and so it's we never had that feature. So I would have to do an actual video consultation and walk them through. And sometimes my Zoom with the Wi-Fi, by the time we got to the ceremony site, it was freezing and we had, issues. And so when I met with the vendor that's doing my 360 video tour, he's like, no, this is going to be like if the client were literally stepping in from the parking lot to the courtyard to the ceremony site, like they can walk it. And I'm like, this is fantastic. So
Yeah.
that was like photos of the spaces, videos of all the spaces, listing out every single space and having at least one photo per space. So
Yep. Okay. Again, I feel like I'm being the devil's advocate here. Same thing. I love it. I love it. I love it. As much as I love beautiful pictures and going to a website and going, oh, look at couple A, they got married. B, they got married. C, they got married. And look, they're all the same. It's them kissing again. I went to see, well, what does it look like? Sure, they got married in this beautiful space. What is the space around them? Not a zoomed in picture of just their face. Because here's the thing, you go onto a website to dream. You go onto a website to say, oh my gosh, I can see myself here. Yeah, you may go, that's a beautiful couple and it's a beautiful picture. And the photographer was amazing. That angled shot was dreamy and they look all misty and the sun coming through her hair. Beautiful. But reality, what is reality? So when someone has to go, well, now I got to build my backdrop. What are they building on? So again, I love the beautiful pictures that they have of couples, but I want to see, and I'm a planner. I can't even imagine what a couple thinks. I want to see more. So I'm glad that was mentioned.
And part of this too, which I was like, when one person said it, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. But then two people said they want an actual floor plan to see. So when they're looking at this video and these tours that they're visualizing, okay, this is for instance, we have the cocktail hour room or the foyer, whatever you want to call our front room. So it's a smaller room. It can be used for cocktail hour. It can be used for welcoming hour. It can actually be used for a small event. But they want to see that layout, and then they want to see the layout of the ballroom and kind of like what the space looks like on paper, which I never thought. But this goes back to real estate, goes back to apartments. You have the floor plan and you have the video tour. So why wouldn't we just add that in? So we're going to add that in with our video tours, just kind of having that floor plan, the bathrooms, the parking lot. Parking lot was in here 3 times. So that must be, I never thought that was something people wanted to know, but parking lot, the size, we have it in our FAQs, like when we need to hire valet after 125 guests, arrive, then we need to have valet because our parking lot's small. But 3 people said the parking lot was important for them. So just, again, little details like that. And you can put that in your FAQs part. If you don't have an FAQs, again, this is free advice for any venue owner out there listening, have an FAQs, because a lot of the little details should live there. And you just write that question out and then they can just look at the answer. My FAQs page in my analytics probably gets looked at least 20% of the time when clients are on there. So it's an informational page that you don't have to put everything onto your website. You can just put it on that link. So that kind of wraps up photos, video tour, floor plan. Okay. For venues. Yes. Yes, because the next one is going to go into wedding vendors.
Oop. Survey says.
Survey says. Okay. And I thought this was crazy, but I kind of love it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So 2 things. They said, if you're posting pictures on your Instagram, because again, this was more Instagram related, but this can also be Facebook, Instagram. I don't know if you can do this on your website, but definitely they want to know if they're looking at a beautiful backdrop at a ceremony site, how much did that cost?
Ooh, interesting.
So they also said that during photo shoots, like during styled shoots, that they should have the vendor and how much it cost on each, like a little. And I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. So when they're looking at these beautiful tablescapes, okay, so centerpiece $20, linen $20. Obviously, it's going to change if there's a per package, but just an estimate. So they go, okay, well then this is going to cost me this much. If they're looking at a ceremony site and they're beautiful florals and the draping, how much would that cost? So I thought, okay, that can kind of be a good thing and a bad thing, because it's going to be like, oh, that's super expensive. But you can also put like packages, or discounted price, like rates are depending on how many people. So people want to know, how much does that cost? Like, how much does that look cost? Because can I afford it? If I go to a venue and I just see the bare minimum, how much is it going to be for and it was decor, decor, decor. How much is decor? How much more do you think? What's an average in floral and decor? Obviously, for floral, I will not dabble in that because it's a whole nother ball game, especially right now with flowers being at a different price. But we do have a silk florist, so I know how much that's going to cost, and then I also know how much centerpieces are going to cost, and I know how much linens are going to cost. So there is, I think, in certain pictures, strategically you can place a price on it, and if it's definitely a styled shoot, I think that's important for not only our side, the venue, the vendors. It's also important for a client to know, can I afford to have that look? And if I can't, do I have the time to make that look on my own? Because that's what it comes down to, time and money. So I loved that. Again, I was like super intrigued with all of these. The other thing, but
No, I was gonna say this is just interesting because again, it goes to, do I really want to put the amount on there? Can someone really afford this? I think a lot of this is just education. It's like I can look at a fashion magazine and go, oh my God, those boots are gorgeous. I have to have those boots. But when you read the fine line that it says $1,500, that well, I'm not going to go buy those boots, but I can admire them. On to the next. Where are the boots that I can afford? So I think that that's just education. But I do, sometimes the styled shoots too, that's not all rentals, it's unique pieces, and so that's kind of hard too, because which I think is going to force the person that's doing the styled shoot to select items that someone can actually rent instead of just being random pieces that they pick to make it look nice. And the difference between an actual wedding and a styled shoot, I think, is important that they put that on there, like, no, this is a styled shoot, this is a true actual
yeah, which I think
wedding.
is important.
Yeah. I mean, bottom line is weddings cost money. And I think that the more upfront people are with it, then I think that people are the reality of, okay, I need to save for this, or that fits within our budget, whatever it is, it's going to work for them.
Yeah. So the other thing, just in specific with vendors, and okay, that we're gonna kind of put what we need and what they need. They want to know how much things cost. If it's a wedding planner, a day of coordinator, full service, which some people have that on their website, other people don't. I don't know. For me, I can do pricing on my Instagram. That's easy. I can put it on my highlights. I don't know how easy that's going to be for other vendors because they have other products, other services, but pricing was in there a lot. And I think that we can roll into the third topic, which is what we need, and it's budget and it's money. It all boils down to money. And I think, well, I know, we know, we've been doing this podcast for a very long time, that there is no education out there, that people are going straight from getting engaged to planning this $20,000-$30,000 wedding that they don't know it's going to be that amount. Obviously things have changed, but we're still hosting, $10,000-$15,000 pop-up weddings. Like, money is money. But the thing about us and the very small percentage of the wedding industry world is that they're not educating. So if it's the wedding planner first, or if it's the venue first, if it's the chicken or the egg, I cannot say this enough. We have the responsibility to teach our clients that before they do anything else. And venues don't want to do it. They don't care. They don't care. But here's the thing, if they did care a little bit more and they did make this investment with their clients and they did understand that it's so important, two things are happen. You're going to pre-qualify your leads and you're going to know who can afford to be there and have amazing weddings at that price budget. So if you're a $100,000 venue or a $15,000 venue, you're pre-qualifying them, and you're going to have amazing reviews, amazing weddings, and the time that you just wasted by not educating your client, that could have been 5 or more clients that would have gone your way. And it's same thing to the wedding planner. You're going to waste your time getting nickel and dimed by the person who didn't get educated because you're like, oh, my services are fantastic. And you're charging thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, all of a sudden your services just became more expensive than the wedding. And you're not going to put that in your portfolio. So I don't understand how hard it is for venues and wedding planners to do this. This is part of their job because it's a trickle down effect for everybody else. If I know how much my clients are going to spend, I know exactly what vendors to give them to. I'm not going to send them if they have, $10,000, $15,000 left after me. I know I want them to have amazing food, an amazing bar. I know what they need. Wedding planner does the same thing. So nobody's booking a DJ first. No one's booking florals first. No one's booking linens first. It is our job in the wedding industry, especially now more than ever, to pass this education on to our clients, and shame on you if you're not, because it's not fair. And you're wasting your time and you're not getting the money based on your demographic, based on your budget, with whatever it is. I know who my people are. I'm not gonna like. Yes, I would love to take anybody, but I'm not. There's other venues for that. I know who my people are. We're like 2,500 to $20,000. That's it. That's it. I mean, I don't need more than that. And guess what? All of my partners, all of my vendors fit that budget. Amazing reviews, amazing customer service, which reviews were also in the top 5 things. People want to see real reviews and they want to see video testimonials, which before video testimonials weren't a big thing, but they want to see the people talking about the venue. Because guess what? People realize during this pandemic, people were writing fake reviews. I had 3 people, actually 4 people comment on how all these great reviews, and then they hired these services and it wasn't what they were. And then they went back and noticed how many reviews they were getting like in the same amount of time. And it's like, that was weird. Like, why is everybody reviewing them now? I'm like, well, yeah, that happens. You can go write a fake review. So, I mean, I think we have one client every 2 or 3 months that does a video testimonial. It's not every single one of them, but if I ask, they'll do it. And if I take the time out of it, they'll come and do it. And if they're too shy, then they'll just write it. And I can't write those reviews. It's like, you can tell the one and then like the paragraphs, like I can't write those. My clients are amazing and I love them. And I couldn't do this without them, but this is a serious topic. Like, people, the wedding industry barely survived. We're about to have the biggest year of our life. 2022, there's a statistic out there that 2022 will be the biggest wedding year since 1994, I think, or I got to go back and look, but it's like over a decade that we're going to have this boom in weddings. And what scares me is people don't have money. Couples, millennials, they don't have money. And they're out there going, well, we're going to spend it. And I think this is a good time for us to pause and say that this episode is sponsored by Marriage Our Money, because we're talking about. And I think, Yvette and I aren't the best at promoting our own products, which we should.
Our own horn? No.
We're not. And I think it's important because we really do believe in financial freedom. We really do believe that you can have your cake and eat it too. We really do believe you can plan the wedding of your dreams and have a home and be financially free in the first 5 years. Most people think we're crazy. Again, everyone thinks we're crazy, but it can happen if you do it right. So Marriage Our Money is our platform. It's a course that couples can take during their engagement or before. Maybe they're not engaged and they just want to know how much money they really have together. And they can look at it, they can see it, and they go, oh my God, in the next 5 years, we're going to have $80,000 together. How much do we want to use for our home? How much do we want to use for our wedding? And how much do we want to have for savings? And guess what? From there, you can plan your life. You can plan your first 5 years. Not that hard, right? Does that seem hard to you?
No, but brought to you by marriageyourmoney.com.
Yeah.
You can go look that up. Thank you for your plug. I love it. Okay, I'm just going to add to it's the big B word. We say it all the time, budget. So you literally just, thank you for the survey. The survey was, what do couples want? What do we want as wedding vendors? A couple things. Budget. I can guarantee you when I ask, what is your investment in your wedding? What is your budget? Whatever terms you want to use to say it nicely, you feel like it's politically correct or not, I don't care. I'm more like, let's get to the point. What can I do for you and how am I going to do this for you? And I have to have a starting point. There has to be a budget. So when I say I don't know, I have no idea. Yeah. Okay. Then let's spend $1 million. Oh, I don't have $1 million. Okay. Then you have a budget between 0 and $1 million. Mm-hmm. So let's try to figure out exactly what it is that you can actually tackle and do. And because again, I think if the both worlds come together, couples say, well, the reason I don't know what my budget is because I don't know how much this costs. So I don't know what to make of the budget. Okay. So I get it. It's like, if people would just be upfront with how much their services are and the cost, then the couples would have a greater idea of how much that they really need to budget for it. But the bottom line is, it really does come down to what can you truly afford, whether it's upfront, whether you put it on credit, whatever you, if someone's going to give you money, whatever, how many months you're going to, there is somewhere in there, there is the big bad B word, and you do have a budget. I don't care how you look at it. And I know that sounds really frank and in your face, but I do know that you do know it. Okay. Regarding budgets, the cost, like you just said, in 2022 is going to go up. I don't care how you look at it. I know for me right now, even with the pop-ups I have put through November 30th, I will honor the price that we're doing the pop-ups right now. As soon as November 30th turns, there's no way, because I've already talked to florists. I've already talked to my vendors. The cost is going up for their services because what they have to buy is going up. So obviously they have to pass, and it's not, listen, it is not the wedding industry who's trying to be mean or get people or like, oh my gosh, no, gas is going up. Natural gas is going up. Food costs, meat, chicken. I mean, everything.
Travel.
Yeah, everything is getting more expensive. It's called inflation. That means it transcends into the wedding industry. And yes, unfortunately, you may have planned for a $25,000 wedding. That may mean now next year that is more like 30,000. It's reality. Unfortunately, it's reality. So just plan ahead for it. I do also want to mention, when you talk about pricing and you look on and I'll just say DJs, you look at a DJ and you go, well, why is this DJ $200 and this other DJ is going to cost me $1,200? I will say a blanket statement. In general, it's not always, but in general, it's because you are calling a company who's been around for a long time, who has vetted their DJs, who,
has multiple DJs. Something happens. There's a staff. You're paying for.
Now, does that mean that they're better? Not necessarily, because I'll be honest, there's up and coming people in the wedding industry that are phenomenal, but they're not expensive. But just understand what you're paying for. Just like there's top wedding planners in the city of Houston. They've been here for years. They're very established. They have connections beyond connections. On an emergency, on a day, if you really need something, they know who to go to. Like, you're not just paying for, oh, I just need you to be there that day. You're paying for an experience and knowledge beyond years. So just understand that there really is a difference as to why something costs the way it does. Some people, this is their livelihood. Other people just do it on the weekends, and you're never going to hear from them until the weekend shows up and they're like, hey, I'm here to do the job. If that's what you want, fine. But just understand exactly what you're paying for. Then the last thing I'm going to say, and maybe this is my personality, just get to the point. I think your vendors would be so appreciative instead of hawing around. Well, yes, you just get, I am looking for, I need, I want, can you do this? Is this actually, and honestly, if you connect with the vendor, ask them questions that you may have not gotten from somebody else, or that you're like, hey, I have a question about this, about the industry. They'll answer it. If you're going to be straightforward with them, I love when people are straightforward and just like, oh my gosh, this is where I'm at. We've been going through this, my venue, and now I'm trying to find.
Yep.
Love it. Because now it's like, great, boom, this is how I can help. It's all about helping. And if you just generally give me information, I'm going to generally help you. If you're going to be very specific, I can specifically help you.
Yeah. Well, that was a jam-packed episode of shopping now versus the past, or before this pandemic. And I don't think it's not going to change. Like, there has literally been, if anything, a shift in how we plan events, how we plan weddings. I do think that people do realize transparency is key. Time, money is extremely key on both sides of this, not just for the couple, but for the wedding industry. But I also think that education is extremely important. I've been saying that for the past 4 years that we've had this podcast. Education, like, guys, do not rush to get into this. There's you're going to be together for the rest of your life. There's so much more than just a wedding, and we are in the wedding industry and we want to host this amazing celebration for you, but this isn't everything. There's so much more, and we have so much more for you too. So again, if you're listening and you love this episode, screenshot it, share it on your social media because we want to know. Tag us. That's super, super important. If you're watching us, share this as well. You can share it on Facebook. Everyone can catch us on the replay. You can also share it on our Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, please comment. I would love to hear. And then you can also just always send us a message if there's anything you want to listen to or have us talk about. But the number one thing for us, again, is education. Go to justengageuniversity.com. You can get so much there. Like it literally is a library of information for couples. If you're a reader, we have amazing blogs written by Yvette. If you are all about the pictures, go see previous clients. We have an ebook. Oh my God, amazing ebook that just kind of gives you what to expect while you're engaged. And if you're super interested in finances, just go take our course. Super easy, $1,000. You and your partner will be set up, I kid you not, for the next 5 years of your life. And we're not just teaching you wedding money budgets. We're talking about home. We're talking about savings, investments. We're talking about the real world. So follow us, like, share, screenshots, all of the fun things, because that's how we grow and that's how we find other new couples out there. We will be back next week. Again, this may not be live, but if you're going to be watching us on 1020, we are going to be talking about travel. We have Shayla Northcutt with Northcutt Travel coming on. She, my God, is as passionate as we are about educating couples. She is passionate about travel. She has been traveling ever since I think COVID restrictions got lifted all over the world. She's been to Greece. She's been to Europe. She's been to Las Vegas. She's been to like multiple places in Mexico because she's going back to hotels that she loves. She's checking out where honeymoons can be happening. She's also checking where you can have your destination weddings. Like she is going to figure out where you can go travel, what the restrictions are, what you can have, what you can't have. So if you have questions about travel, send them before. We will answer them live. If you want to send them to us live, you can send it to us live while we're doing our feed. And then if you're watching the replay, we will answer all of those questions in the replay. But I think this is extremely important because travel is completely different now than it was back
then.
then.
There's so many the information that is out there is crazy as far as like, is this true? Is this not true? How do we find out if it's true? So it's going to be great to hear from a professional who's in the mix and deep in it.
Yes. And she's also going to answer all those questions about travel agents. Like everyone's like, oh, we don't need a travel agent. 100%, especially for honeymoons and for destination weddings. You're going to need one, saving you time and saving you money, which I think that's like such a myth that people are like, oh, I can do it cheaper. You know how long people take? There's hours spent scrolling on Airbnbs and the Expedias and then it's like, oh, but did I get the insurance? Oh, but what if I need to change? Or what if this happens? She will be able to answer all those questions. She's amazing. I'm so glad to have her on. And then we'll be having more fun things to talk about. We're going to Wedding MBA in November, so we're gonna have lots of great things to bring back from our conference. So until next week, thank you so much for watching us, listening to us. We really appreciate you guys. We will see y'all next week.
Bye.